Yeah, so going to lights out then, we had one of the slowest starts I think I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen the cars crawl off the line so slowly. It was, I mean, obviously they're bigger and heavier and wider than they've ever been, so that probably accounts for some of it. And the conditions were particularly difficult. A terrible start for both Red Bulls. They did eventually recover, but neither of them really went off. We saw quite a few cars start in second gear, but they didn't.
Renaults did. So, the Renault started in second gear, and
Ricciardo and Ocon did. Yeah,
both those got a fantastic start to the first corner. Their launch was fantastic. The two Renaults, they really jumped. They jumped a couple of cars, which was fantastic. And
Ocon had a really good start, but he was just ruined by Hamilton. Kind of went up on the inside of Ricciardo. And Ricciardo had to react, and he just ended up tapping his teammate. It was kind of unfortunate, really.
Yeah.
And then Bottas, I think, seeing that incident, obviously tried to react to break it, gave it too much, and ended up spinning. And that was spin number 1 of 4 for Bottas today.
I'm glad you took note, because I've also got notes down on how many times he spun. It was a race to forget for the Finn, wasn't it?
It was an appalling race for Bottas. Appalling. When you consider how well his teammate did.
Oh, shocking. Absolutely shocking. But Hamilton got a good start, straight up to P3, capitalised on Max Verstappen, whose launch was okay, but then just had no traction going forward. Just complete. And we've seen this time and time again from the Red Bulls. I think a handful of times this year we've seen their launch being awful and just going backwards along the pit straight. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. And
Bottas, go on.
Well, with Hamilton also ended up losing it halfway through lap 1, though. He had a lock-up about midway through the lap and lost a couple of places shortly after that. So uncharacteristic for Hamilton to make mistakes, but he had a few this weekend during the race.
He wasn't faultless at all. But I think every driver made mistakes. It's just how many mistakes and how you recover from those, and how much your mentality reacts to after these mistakes. So like you said, Hamilton goes wide, loses 3 places, and then drops down to P6 at the end of lap 1. And Vettel did the complete opposite. He was up 8 places by the end of lap 1. Absolutely fantastic. I like to see on the graphic at the start of the race, like who's dropped positions and who's made positions. Ironically, Bottas's wasn't as bad as I thought, because he started quite far back down the grid, and he only lost like 8 positions because he started P8.
He started 9th.
Started 9th, so he only didn't lose that many. But Vettel, fantastic start, kept it out of everyone's way, and just drove around people. It was a brilliant start, and that was the start of things to come for both Ferraris. Actually, reacted very well in these conditions.
Yeah, both cars look pretty comfortable. Obviously, if you've got quite a draggy car with a bit of a power output deficit, most tracks that'll be a problem. But when you're trying to keep your tyres at the right temperature, and you've got not a lot of grip, and you don't want to put too much power down, and you need a reasonable amount of drag to keep you on the track, I guess it worked for Ferrari this time. Both cars looked pretty good.
Worked very well, didn't it? Worked very well indeed. To mention,
we had multiple cars up on multiple places as well, because we had Sainz up 6 places. Both the AlphaTauris were up quite a few places. I think Magnussen ended up getting up to about P10 at one point shortly after.
Yes, he was running in the points, yep.
So yeah, quite a few cars managed to get up quite a few places at the start, which, like you say, it's good to see.
Bottas actually went wide halfway through lap 1 as well. Went off the track. I'm not sure if it was a full spin, but he did lose it, and that put him right at the back of the grid. Apart from Latifi, who might as well have not turned up this weekend. That was atrocious. I think he was lapped by, just in starting the double digits of the lap numbers, he was a lap behind.
Yeah, he couldn't really handle the conditions, could he?
No, not at all. And to be fair, brand new Formula 1 driver in that car, in conditions which most drivers had never seen in their racing careers on a freshly tarmacked surface. It was always going to be difficult, but just the difference, the reason these drivers are Formula 1 drivers is because they're the best in the world, so they need to adapt and overcome, and he didn't do any of those, which is a shame. On lap 2,
both Racing
Max
Points,
closes.
though, I've just coming on to the end of lap 1, both cars for Racing Point were well away. Like, they had nearly sort of 9-10 seconds in the lead by the end of lap 1, so they really got away really well. It was a strong start for Racing Point.